jūs pieteikšu.
Tā, pagaid, noņemiet tagad, var viņu noņemt?
Vienīgais no ekrāniem, jā? Ok, es to... Vienīgais. Mās man neviens neskatās. Izslēdz. Šitās. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. And first, I want to give the word to a rector of University of Latvia, Professor Indriķis Mužnieks, with presentation University of Latvia as a Center for Future Development of Nuclear Energy Research and Education in Latvia. Please.
Excellency, Mr. Mayor, colleagues, it's my pleasure to see that many people who are interested in the development of nuclear technologies in that nice and sunny day at the Center of Academic Center of Natural Sciences of the University of Latvia. And I will shortly reflect on our understanding how the processes can be developed in Latvia, what we are going to do, what is the background, as we have discussed already with Mr. Meyer. There should be some background and should be some connections why we are interested in the development of nuclear energy research. First of all we know about Latvia. It's quite large if we are looking at the surface area of our country, but it's not that large if we are looking at the numbers of population. And we have a lot of course, natural magnificent places and natural resources like water, like nice forests and so on, but we don't have very good sources for creating energy, and that's why the diverse aspects of research on energy has been in the focus of our society since Latvia was established, and we see that our university is founded approximately at the same time as the Republic of Latvia, and that's why the fate and the mission of the university has always been very closely linked to the interests and needs of our country. Our university is the largest comprehensive university, research-oriented university in Latvia, a part of 13 faculties, starting with theology and ending with medicine and physics. We have also 12 research institutes, 4 affiliated research institutes. There's a lot of research capacity inside the university. In fact, half of the scientific production provided in Latvia is created by the researchers of our university. But where are the roots of the interest and research on nuclear physics, chemistry, and all the possible applications of high energy radiation? It's closely linked to the work of Salaspils nuclear reactor, which was started 55 years ago and which was turned down in the end of the previous century due to the nuclear containment program, because of the nuclear fuel which was used in this reactor was not compatible with the regulations set in force later, and having in mind non-distribution of eventually dangerous materials. Today we are developing on the previous heritage and expertise which has been accumulated during the years, and we are involved and linked to many European, transnational, global projects. The main, of course, source for internationalization research is Horizon 2020 and different sub-projects and subnets within this program, including Eurofusion and ERANET Plus projects, where our institutes and our researchers are involved together with other institutions from Europe, from neighboring countries, also from Russia, in doing different sorts of research. In this respect, we can name the activities of Institute of Solid State Physics, who are doing research on the development of materials for fusion reactors. We can name the Institute of Physics, who is probably one of the most advanced research institutions doing research in liquid metal modeling, in devices involving liquid metal processes, magnetohydrodynamics, and in next month we are looking forward to sign an agreement with French Agency for Atomic Energy on further development of those experiments and projects together with people in Grenoble, in Cadarache, and in other research institutions. This is very much linked to the development of technologies and materials for tokamak installations, developing materials for diverter material, developing possibilities, approaches to analyze the premixes which are created during nuclear fusion reactions and which are accumulated in the reactor materials. And this is a wonderful opportunity which allows our researchers to exchange the top knowledge and to be in the cutting edge of the research in those fields and directions which, to my understanding and to our common feeling of the university's physicists, chemists, and biologists, will be important part for creating sustainable energy solutions for our societies. All this, of course, is related also to radiation protection, where we have nuclear energy, where we have also radiation protection issues coming up. And in this respect, we are also involved in Horizon 2020 projects, which are dedicated to different protection issues, like also developing new nanomaterials which can be used for this respect, and also in such an pan-European project like CONCERT, the program for the integration of those protection issues research over the Europe. And it's good that not only researchers but also industrial enterprises can be and are participating through Horizon 2020 through other activities, and I'm happy to see Mr. Gostillo here from the Baltic Scientific Instruments Company, which is also developing in this field, and I hope that this will be very nice interaction between the research and industry in the sophisticated field of nuclear research. It's not only about the instruments and energy, it's also about biological safety. And we've heard already today from Dr. Ansans that we are closing one very interesting project on upgrading radiation biology laboratory infrastructure and the new equipment which was purchased with the help of International Agency for Atomic Energy is now installed in our laboratory at Leisti. New project we have already touched upon is this Baltic project, brilliant, on development of concept for Baltic centers of nuclear research and nuclear power development. And not, of course, the university probably concentrates the most significant resources in nuclear research in Latvia. But it's very important to say and to mention that there are other institutions which are developing this field and where we have other aspects of application towards the use of high energy radiation for health services, for diagnosis of cancer and cure of cancer illnesses, like the newly established oncologic diagnosis centrum Medvision in cooperation with Stradins University, and private companies, newly established Center of Nuclear Surgery in Sigulda, and recently opened Clinic of Nuclear Medicine, also in cooperation with private medical companies, and Riga Eastern University Hospital, and with some participation of the University of Latvia, where new approach of creating positron emission isotopes will be applied not only for the diagnosis but also for treatment of cancer patients. We are developing our campus here in Torņkalns. Now we are in the building which is shown in this yellow square now, but it's only the first building, and I would like to say a few words about the building which will be Center of Medical and Material Science for Medical and Material Science Technologies, where we hope to have a new generation of diverse high particle energy instruments. And here we see the floor plan of the first floor of this building. Here it is a place for high energy linear electron accelerator. Here are the plan for irradiation and sterilization of various materials. Here are medical instruments, also accelerators, new generation accelerators, which can be used for medical treatment of patients. And here is a place where new powerful cyclotron unit is planned to be installed, which will allow us not only to create such routine isotopes for medical use, but to develop new lines of isotopes and to also have the possibility to explore the neutron, to convert proton radiation into neutrons, and to have the material science experiments closing and exploring the behavior of different materials under the conditions which can model the conditions in fission reactors. All this needs, of course, education, and this is an important topic, especially for the university, because to have the human resources to support all those interesting plans of development, we need to develop on our existing experience. And here we see where the nuclear energy and nuclear safety issues are included in existing programs. Of course, we have to and we shall cooperate with our colleagues from the Riga Technical University, where the program for medical physics, which is very much related to our today's topic, is being taught. But it's not only about teaching students, it's also about teaching in continuous education all the professionals in medicine, in different institutions, in harbors, in custom offices, where the radiation issues are actual. And this is also our task, where we are looking forward to have support from the international agency, and we are looking forward also to the implementation of new technical aid and teaching projects with the help of the agency and involving our partners from other universities in Latvia and partners from industries, so that the use of nuclear energy is getting the issue of our everyday life and our regular research at the University of Latvia. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure to welcome this high delegation at our new Center of Natural Sciences. Thank you.
Thanks to our rector for presentation. And next, let's continue with the lecture by Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Mr. Jukija Amano. Your floor is yours.
Distinguished ambassadors, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to be with you today at the Academic Center of National Science of the University of Latvia, an important new house of learning. As President Visionis remarked when he visited you last year, it is in centers such as this that new science discoveries are born. I fully support the remarks by your President. Today, I had the privilege of visiting your laboratories, and I was impressed. You are undertaking researches, the most advanced one, and you are producing concrete results. The fusion, liquid, metal, coolant for fourth generation of reactors, materials for tokamak. All of these are the most advanced areas. I would like to pay tribute to your very advanced level of science. Yesterday, I visited the Nuclear Medical Center, and again, I was very much impressed by the efficient use of funds. When I learned about the budget, I was amazed. How can they make this facility with that budget? You are doing all the efforts to use the money in a very effective way to serve the welfare of the people. So you have a very good record, and I really congratulate your achievement. Science and technology are the core of everything we do at the IAEA. The IAEA is a technical organization, and I am very much pleased to work with scientists and engineers. Nuclear technologies are used in many areas that affect our daily lives. Media always write us nuclear watchdog. Japanese are a little bit more polite, so they say nuclear guardian. But whichever the case, they do not pay enough attention to other very important activities of our organization. That is to use nuclear technology for peaceful purpose. Experts use nuclear science to diagnose and cure cancers, to increase the yield and improve the nutrition values of food crops, and to conduct research on innovative materials. Nuclear techniques are used to check the welding in pipes and structural safety of aircrafts, to manage water resources, and to control mosquito populations. These are the areas which the United Nations identified as the 17 areas of priorities for the Sustainable Development Goals. And IAEA is contributing for the attainment of these areas. So now we are saying the objective of the IAEA is to use atoms for peace and development. The IAEA, with its 168 member states, brings together leading international experts to work on all aspects of this unique technology. We provide agreed international safety standards and security guidance, and help to make nuclear technology available to developing countries. We promote research in innovative nuclear technologies. The IAEA works closely with Latvia in areas such as the management of radioactive waste, nuclear safety and security, and human health. I had some interviews with some media this morning and yesterday, and they asked, why do you come to Latvia? I said, because Latvia is an important partner for the IAEA. Your ambassador is now the vice chair of the Board of Governors, which are very important policy-making organ of the IAEA. We have an important project between your country and IAEA, and you represent the sensitive voice of the member states. So I have all the reasons to come to your country to have discussions with the political leaders on matters of common interest and visit the research institutes and medical centers. Ladies and gentlemen, the best-known peaceful application of nuclear technology is nuclear power. And I understand that your main interest is nuclear power. So let me say a few words about nuclear power. Nuclear power has been contributing to low-carbon electricity production for the last 60 years. The 444 operational nuclear power reactors in the world today provide about 11% of the world's electricity. Last year, we saw a record number of new reactors coming online. 10 power reactors were connected to the grid in 2015, the highest single-year figure since 1990. Around 30 countries are considering adding nuclear power to their energy mix or actively working on their first nuclear power plant. I have seen for myself the rapid progress being made in building the first 4 power reactors in the United Arab Emirates, and the first reactors in Belarus. They are likely to be commissioned within the next years. 65 nuclear power plant reactors are under construction across the world. The center of expansion is Asia. This is the difference compared to some decades ago. The center of expansion is now moving from Europe, from the United States to Asia. 42 of the 48 reactors connected to grid since 2005 are in Asia. People are sometimes surprised to learn that global interest in nuclear power is continuing to grow despite the Fukushima Daiichi accident in Japan 5 years ago. Some people said that after the Fukushima Daiichi accident, this will be the end of the nuclear power. What happened afterwards is completely different. I believe there are a number of factors at work. Energy is the engine of development. Without electricity, achieving development or maintaining prosperity is not possible. Many countries believe that nuclear power can help them to achieve the twin goals of increasing electricity supply for their growing populations while curbing greenhouse gas emissions. In the lifetime, if we consider the lifetime, nuclear power almost does not emit climate change gas. At the same time, they want to improve their energy security and reduce the impact of volatile fossil fuel prices on their economies. For now, oil is not that expensive. But some years ago, it was really expensive, and we never know what will be the trend in the future. There are sound economic arguments in favor of nuclear power. Nuclear power plants are expensive to build, but they can prove cost-effective over an operating lifetime of 40 to 60 years and even longer. Countries may seek to use all the sources of energy at their disposal. For every unit of electricity produced, hydro, nuclear, and wind power have the lowest carbon emissions over their life cycle. But unlike some energy sources, nuclear can provide the baseload electricity supply on which a modern economy depends. In fact, nuclear power has already made a significant contribution to climate change mitigation, helping to prevent the production of almost 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year that would have been produced through electricity generation using fossil fuels. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the sovereign decision of each country whether or not to introduce nuclear power. The IAEA does not try to influence their decision in any way. It belongs to it is the decision of each country, and we do not intervene. But for countries that choose nuclear power, our job is to help them in every way we can. We advise on how to put the appropriate legal and regulatory framework in place and how to ensure the highest standard of safety, security, and safeguards. We offer know-how on the construction, commissioning, startup, and safe operation of nuclear reactors. We establish global nuclear security standards and security guidance. The end result, we hope, is that countries will be able to introduce nuclear power safely, securely, and sustainably. The decision belongs to each state. Our role is to assist, and our objective is to use the nuclear power safely, securely, and sustainably if country decides to include nuclear power in their energy mix. Ladies and gentlemen, needless to say, safety is the key to the future of nuclear technology. The Fukushima Daiichi accident reminded us all that a terrible accident can happen anywhere, even in a developed country, with long experience of the use of nuclear power. Since the accident, I have seen extensive safety improvement put in place in all the facilities I visit throughout the world. In my current capacity, I visit 20 to 30 countries everywhere in the world. And wherever they have the nuclear power plants, I try to visit the nuclear power plant and would like to see the difference before and after Fukushima Daiichi accident. In Coburg nuclear power plant in South Africa, I see the mobile generators. I see the intake of water high at the building. In some reactors, nuclear power plant, I saw the watertight buildings that was constructed after the Fukushima Daiichi accident. And on-site, off-site center is now constructed in many nuclear power plants. So I would say that the nuclear power plants now are safer than before the Fukushima Daiichi accident. Remarkable research is being done on new generations of reactors, which will not just be safer, but will also generate less waste. And I learned today that your country is contributing to develop the next generation of nuclear power reactors and reduce the amount of nuclear waste. There is renewed interest in fast reactors, which have high potential for recycling uranium resources. New small and medium-sized or modular reactors may be attractive to countries with smaller electricity grids. You have keen interest in fast reactors, and I'm going to attend the meeting. Countries using nuclear technology need a strong and independent regulator and appropriate nuclear legislation. Latvia has an effective regulatory infrastructure in place, and the Iaea has been cooperating with their country. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are meeting in an academic center today, I would like to say a few words about a unique feature of the work of the Iaea, which is that we have 8 nuclear applications laboratories near Vienna, the location which is called Cybersdorf. They train scientists, support research in human health, food and other areas, and provide analytical services to national laboratories. In the last 10 years, more than 20 Latvian nationals have received IAEA training as fellows or scientific visitors in nuclear engineering and technology, nuclear and radiation safety, and nuclear security. They work with top international scientists in their fields and return home to Latvia to share their expertise with their colleagues. A comprehensive modernization of the laboratory is now underway. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, the IAEA is turning 60. We'll celebrate the great work that has been done in the last 6 decades to make nuclear technology available for peaceful purposes throughout the world under a mandate which I summarize as Atoms for Peace and Development, as I mentioned at the outset. Universities and research centers such as yours are essential for technological innovation, which in turn is vital for economic development. I encourage the students here today to consider careers in nuclear science and technology, which have much to contribute to human well-being and priority. Perhaps some of you will come to work with us. The IAEA is a very nice place to work. We have discussed the representation of your country. And I know that you have a very high level of education, and we welcome that capable nationals of your country apply to the jobs in the agency, and we are very willing to work with you to increase your representation. I will stop here and happy to take your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amano, for your lecture. And now let's start a session of questions and answers, which will be translated. Questions?
Good day. I was wondering, what kind of impact on society do you think it would have for us to have a lot of fission reactors? You said that a lot of them are being constructed and commissioned. Could there be adverse effects in the future?
I will take 2 or 3 questions and then answer.
Okay. Es pārtulkošu jautājumu. Tātad jautājums bija, kāda būs ietekme uz sabiedrību vairāku kodolreaktoru uzbūves un palaišanas gadījumā. Fission.
My question is, one of the major risks in nuclear industry is public relation risk, which can force reasonable reactors to close down and hinders the development. What is the current approach to improve the public awareness and information?
Tad jautājums par sabiedrības reakciju un riskiem, kāda saistīta ar jaunu reaktoru atvēršanu, un kas tiek darīts, lai sabiedrības viedokli mainītu un sniegt informāciju par kodolreaktoriem.
Please, your answer.
Yeah, I have also, in the connection with those 2 previous questions, one of the major problems of fission reactors is waste, of course, accumulating. So do you see any new developments of treating waste, not instead of depositing, but somehow other approaches, decomposing or something like this? And again, related to this, what is your feeling about the prospects of fusion reactions? Are there to be awaited in next, let's say, 50 years or something like that?
Tad īsumā pārtulkojot jautājumu, tad Muždien kungs jautāja, kādi vēl citi veidi, atskaitot kodola atkritumu apglabāšanu, tiek apskatīti šo atkritumu apstrādēju, un kāds ir Amano kunga viedoklis par kodola termiskajiem reaktoriem, un cik tuvā nākotnē mēs varētu gaidīt šādas tehnoloģijas reāli pieejamību.
Thank you very much for your questions. Regarding the first question, there is some, you may know that there is a huge project of ITER in Cadarache, France, and your country is cooperating to the construction of and success of the Cadarache ITER project in many ways. There are a number of countries have tokamak or other type of fusion facilities, but I think the best way to contribute is to work in cooperation with the ITER project. ITER is a huge project, and a number of countries participate as a member or non-member. And as you have a very high level of scientific knowledge and engineering experience, cooperating with the ITER would be the best way. Nowadays, there is another type of fusion facilities that can be developed with much less time and much less fund. But my recommendation is to work with the ITER project. Related question is when, how will be the prospect of fusion? It is said quite often when we ask the questions, when the fusion technology was established, the answer was after 50 years, in fact 50 years ago, and after 50 years in other time. But in reality, much progress has been made. When I visited Kadarash some years ago, they said, when the first when the ITER undertakes first experiment in 2017, they can tell whether the project is successful or not. There are some delays, but in the coming years, we will be able to have a much better indication whether the fusion is doable in the near future or not. But we need to wait a little bit more to get that indication. Public acceptance. Public acceptance is the most important, the most difficult element of nuclear. People ask me, what are the difficulties in launching nuclear power? And they think technology. My view is that difficulty number one is social acceptance, public acceptance. Number two, money, funding. Third, technology. Countries like yours have already technology, and it is not impossible to train people. But public acceptance is really important. And I know many cases in which construction of nuclear power plants were delayed 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or forever because of lack of public acceptance. Technical delay by technical delays by technical reason, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. What can we do? Dialogue and transparency is the key. Dialogue does not mean we educate people. That approach is not welcome. We need to exchange views. Those who are familiar with the technology provide information, and they get reaction from people, and continue the discussions. Not everyone will support nuclear power. It's too ambitious to think that everyone will support nuclear power. But in many cases, in countries where they have nuclear power, support rate is 60, and 40 is against, 65, 35. This is the range of the support rate. So you should accept that some people are not in support, but others are in support. And you need to be honest, frank, and listen to the views of others. Another very important approach is that use the services of the IAEA or other international organizations. We send peer review missions consisting of international top experts on the site selection or infrastructure of nuclear power. And we recognize the good points of your country and also make a recommendation. If you implement the recommendation, you have a higher possibility that your reactors and nuclear power plants are of good standing. Also, it is important to share the information that nuclear is used everywhere for cancer control, for cardiovascular, for food production, for the protection of nuclear on the environment. Everywhere nuclear technology is used. Science technology is the basis for development. And by excluding nuclear technology, what will happen in the future? So let's share the information with member states. Use the international service as much as possible, and let's liaise with the public. Waste disposal. One of them, many people state that one of the weakest point of nuclear power is the nuclear waste, and they say it is impossible to deal with nuclear waste. It is wrong. For the low and medium level nuclear waste, it is even commercialized, and many countries address the low and medium level waste safely. It is true also that addressing the high level waste or spent fuel is difficult, but already there exists technology like deep underground disposal. Finland, Sweden, or France are at very advanced stage, and a facility in Onkalo, Finland, will become operational in the coming years. So the technology exists, but again, social acceptance is difficult. This is one of the possibility, but as the director mentioned, there are other ways. Researchers are very active to reduce the amount of nuclear waste by using advanced technologies. Reprocessing is another way. Reprocessing means recycling the nuclear fuel and reduce the amount of nuclear waste. So the role of the agency with regard to the nuclear waste is that let's be responsible for addressing the nuclear waste. We call it the cradle to grave approach. As long as you use nuclear technology, you should be responsible for the nuclear waste. There are technical means to address the nuclear waste, and this knowledge must be shared. Also, the IAEA function as the focal point to advance the technologies and researches to address the question of nuclear waste. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah.
Mr. Amano, a very short question. My company design and deliver precise spectrometric equipment for many nuclear applications in nuclear industry. To your agency as well and to many countries with nuclear industry. During many years, Iran market was closed for deliveries. Tomorrow, a delegation of this country arrived to Latvia. What is today position of agency concerning this market? Some years ago, I discussed this item with Olli Heinonen. What is today vision? What to tell tomorrow to the businessmen who will ask such equipment? Thank you very much.
Jā, tad jautājums par aprīkojumu un iekārtām, kas saistīts ar kodolenerģētikas izpēti. Tika minēts, ka gan sadarbība ar Ukrainu ir problemātiska un arī sadarbība ar Irānu ir pārtraukta Eiropas Savienības ietvaros. Un tad jautājums ir, ko atbildēt kolēģiem, kas ierodas Latvijā un uzdod jautājumus, un viņi vēlētos sadarboties kodoltehnoloģiju jautājumā, bet tas nav iespējams. Ko viņiem atbildēt?
So, I have a question. What is your opinion about low energy nuclear reactions? Lately there are wide research going on and discussions about reactions where excess heat is generated during heating up different substances containing lithium, nickel and other things, and they say that there are some low energy nuclear reactions. And then some companies promise that in a few years they will be ready to deliver some devices which generate like 5 times more or even 50 times more energy that they are taking for these reactions?
Okay, es pareizi sapratu jautājumu, tas ir par kāds ir Amano kunga viedoklis par zemes enerģijas kodolreakcijām. Ir dzirdēts, ka dažādas kompānijas jau tagad piedāvā prototīpus, kurā uzsildot litiju un citus elementus pie pietiekoši augstām temperatūrām var iegūt kodolreakcijas sākšanos, un šīs kompānijas apgalvo, ka ar laiku būs iespējams aptuveni 5-kāršot ieliktās un atgūtās enerģijas attiecību, tātad iegūt 5 reizes vairāk enerģiju. Pat līdz 50 reizēm. Nu jā, tātad kāds ir Amano kunga viedoklis par šīm tehnoloģijām?
Yes, you can answer. No question. Okay. One.
I would like to ask you about progress on thorium reactors and what are the benefits over standard fusion reactors.
Tad jautājums par kādas ir torija reaktoru priekšrocības un kādas ir priekšrocības par parastajiem fusion kodoltermiskajiem reaktoriem.
More questions? No? Please, your answer.
Let me start from the second question on low energy reaction, lithium nickel. Let me be frank. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a scientist, and I don't think I can provide you a meaningful answer to your question. And then, almost the same to the third question. With respect to the fusion reactor, I think I provided some answers. And for the thorium reactors, India is investing a lot of energy in developing this, but still it will take time. They need to establish the fast reactor chain first, and this is a very promising and useful area, but it will take more time. For Iran, the Iran issue has been a very difficult issue for the IAEA, and we have been following this issue since 2003. Progress has not been made for a long time, but when President Rouhani was elected as president in 2013, we started to see the changes. And in 2015, 6 countries and Iran reached agreement, and IAEA and Iran also reached agreement to clarify the past issues. And now the IAEA is tasked to monitor and verify the nuclear-related commitments under the 6 countries and Iran agreement. The essence is that Iran accepted to limit their nuclear activities. Iran accepted to undertake to allow the agency to implement the more powerful verification tool, which is called additional protocol. And some Iran accepted to agree to implement some transparency measures. In exchange, and also Iran accepted to limit their nuclear activities. In exchange, the 6 countries agreed to lift the sanctions. So, what can be done and what cannot be done? The IAEA can implement the technical cooperation because we do not have the restrictions imposed by the previous United Nations Security Council resolutions. But it is not our field, but the export control apply to all countries, including Iran. So they have to follow, or you need to follow the export control regulations, which is not our organization's rule. So I do not know that much in details. Coming back to the 6 countries and Iran agreement, there are some references to the provision of equipment which are quite sensitive, like the high explosive chambers or computer modeling and others. As the agreement is the public document, you can see that. But there remain some restrictions on very sensitive technologies, but otherwise the export to the Iranian market is the same to other countries.
Yeah, vai nepieciešams tulkojums?
Maybe last one questions.
Thank you very much for promoting the nuclear energy. I find it very promising, to be honest. My question is, what kind of safety measures your organization provides in case of possible future nuclear accidents? Thank you.
Jā, tad ir jautājums, kādas drošības pasākumus jūsu organizācija var veikt kodola nelaimes gadījumā?
Thank you very much for your question. The responsibility to ensure the highest level of safety lies on each state. So it is not us, but it is your government and your utilities that need to provide the safety measures. That said, the IAEA has a role to assist the countries. In which way can we help them? In case of emergency or accident, our Incident and Emergency Center is activated, and we share the information through our network. We receive offers of assistance from other countries, and we channel the offer to the country in question. And if that country accepts the assistance, the assistance will be implemented. And before the accident, there are a number of measures that we can take to prevent the accident. For example, we establish a safety standard, and we strongly recommend all the countries to implement the IAEA standard. We make our peer review missions available upon request to countries. And by accepting the peer review missions, you can find which are the strong point of your safety measures, and you can also get recommendations from the peer review missions. That is for the operation, for the regulatory body, and in a wider sense, nuclear infrastructure. When accident happens, upon request, we can send missions like we did in case of Fukushima Daiichi accident to help the countries for the measurement of background, or assistance for the decontamination, assistance for the measurement of sea environment, assistance and advice to the limitation or prohibition of the circulation of food, agriculture products. These are some of the examples that we can provide. But essentially, the responsibility lies on each country and utilities. The IAEA's role to take measures to prevent, help to prevent such accident and mitigate the effect of the accident afterwards. It consists of bilateral assistance, It covers the dispatch of missions, establishing standard, and that include the legal advice. So these are the number of areas that we can do. But
so thank you. We have to finalize our meeting right now, and for those who are interested in local running radiation safety issues, here's the Radiation Safety Center sitting in among us, so you can ask directly to Mrs. Starptautiskā what to do in case, and how to operate in case that you have some such dangerous things. But I would like to thank Mr. Amano for visiting us, and as a small souvenir from our center, there's a memorial coin, and I shall hand it over to you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.